my. So, you're thinking about putting one of these giant analog mixing boards in your studio. Or maybe you're thinking about going down to Guitar Center, just buying you an analog little board so you can see what it does for you. If you are, today, I got news for you. 3 cons and 3 pros to doing it. Okay, the first con is the elephant in the room, and that is literally the elephant. This board, maybe that's why they made it green, huh? But this thing is huge, and it weighs about 500 pounds, and holy crap. I mean, if you brought one of these home, I don't think your mama's gonna let you put it in your bedroom. So that's the first con, just its sheer size. Now the second con, the noise floor. I've got a lot of comments on that. What you gonna do about that noise floor? Those boards are noisy. You know, you might get a hiss in your audio if you use one of these boards. And everybody says, what do you do about that hiss? Well, there's a lot of things you could do about it, but it is a problem. Noise floor. Anything analog, you know? If you plug in an amp, you can hear the hiss. Right now, imagine this has 60 preamps in it. That's 60. That's a lot of noise. So what are you going to do about that noise floor? Second con, noise. Con number 3, maintenance. If you own an analog board, every day you use it, you got to do maintenance. You got to know how to use one of these and solder. You got to know how, or you're screwed. Look at these wires. I mean, holy crap. You got to do maintenance every day on an analog board. That is con number 3. Now, my mama always told me, when you got good news and bad news, you always start with the bad news, and then you give them the good news to cheer them up. So now it's time for the good news to cheer you up. The pros of having a giant analog mixing board in your studio. Okay, this is the part you waited for. Pro number 1 is its size. That's right, the same thing that was a con is also a pro. Let me ask you a question, okay? Is your glass half full or is it half empty? I have 60 preamps. I can plug in 60 microphones, okay? So easy peasy. I have my whole studio is wired, ready to go. When a band comes in here, it takes me longer to turn on my computer and get it fired up and Logic brought up than it does to get all the microphones and everything ready to go because I'm ready. Okay, that's an advantage. It's size. Okay, then if you have outboard gear. Okay, let me show you something about my outboard gear. All right, right here we got a Fender Reverb tank. We got all these 500 series. Okay, this is on my master bus, a 747 effects. Okay, then down here I've got a Bluey. Now, I know in digital, it's just a mouse click away, right? If you have the right interface, it's pretty easy to plug all that stuff in. But let me show you how you do it on a giant analog board. Okay, let's say right here I have a keyboard, okay? I want to see what my Bluey will sound like on the keyboard. All I have to do is reach up here. This is my group settings, okay? I've got the Bluey on group number 4 right here. See, it says right here, group 4 Bluey. Okay, if I come over here, any of these channels, I just push 4. There, I'm going through the Bluey. Okay, if I want it parallel or more, well, it's over here, more, less. Okay, you get the idea. Push of a button, now it's off. Push of a button, and any of my outboard gear, any of my reverbs, anything is in or out. No patch bay, nothing to do but push a button. Okay, you want to talk about going quick and figuring out what you like and what you don't like on a kick drum, whatever. I can, bam, right now. I've got all my stuff set up on groups and auxiliary sends, and it's literally the push of a button. I can do it in parallel or completely have it take over. Okay, that's one of the advantages of its size. The other thing of going large format as opposed to a mixing board you would go down to Guitar Center and buy. Okay, now listen up to this one because it's kind of important. Now Logic has had VCA faders for a long time. And I always thought, what's the big deal? Because there are a lot of ways to incorporate turning up and down a lot of channels. You don't need a VCA fader, right? Well, that's what I thought until I got one of these, a large format board with VCA faders. Okay, let me show you what a real VCA fader is on a real mixing board. Okay, so over here, I got all my drums, okay? You see here, VCA group. Okay, all my drums are pushed 1, okay? They all have 1. Now, 1 through 8 is VCA faders. Now, these are voltage-controlled amplifiers, and they work a lot like a dimmer switch on a bunch of lights. Okay, so here's a VCA fader, less, more. Okay, now I'm controlling all the drums, and I can put whatever channel I want, okay, through whatever VCA. I've got 8 of them here, and I can sit right here in the middle and turn it up or down. Now, okay, you're saying Logic does the same thing. There's a difference in the sound. Okay, it's not distortion, it's not hiss, it's oomph and how you want to do it. And when I push up a VCA fader at the chorus or the impact for the outro or the bridge, let me tell you, it ain't like pushing up a VCA fader in Logic. It's a little bit different. And then let me show you something else too about size. Why size matters in a mixing board. We're in the drum room now. I mean, check out this drum set. It's a Yamaha. If you haven't figured it out, I like Yamaha. So this is a Yamaha drum set. There's 12 microphones going in here. Okay, there's 2 microphones in the bathroom. Let me show you quick. But there's a lot of microphones in here. Right there. Okay, can you see them? Okay. Sometimes I'll bring an amplifier in the bathroom and reamp it because you notice a difference in the voice. Check, 1, 2. All these microphones in my whole studio. I've got lines run out into my soldering room where I can put amplifiers. Okay, I've got more rooms out here, and there's microphone leads out here. Let me show you real quick. This room's a mess. I'm gonna show you my mess room. Yeah, needless to say. But I can put amplifiers in here and mic them. I got as many mics as I want. I mean, after all, I can hook in 60, that's 60 microphones if I want to into that board. So the whole thing's all wired up. People come in here to record. What do you want to do today? Easy. You know, it's just like I said, it takes longer to fire up my computer and bring up Logic than it does to have my whole studio operational because of this board. I just push a button. And yes, you can do that with the mouse, but it ain't near as fun. Trust me. I've been there, done that for a lot of years, okay? And this is a lot more fun. So the size matters. So is it a problem? You decide. To me, my glass is half full. I'm loving the size of this beast. Number 2 that was a problem is noise floor. And that is also a pro. Okay, it was a con, but I'm going to turn into a pro real quick. Okay, in your DAW, your digital audio workstation, you do a lot just to try to make up for its cleanliness. Okay, life is noisy, people. Okay, when I walk outside my door right now, I can hear a rooster crowing in the distance. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, that's in my backyard, my daughter's rooster. And I can hear ducks back there. Now, I can hear in the morning when I come down here. I come down here at 4 o'clock in the morning. You should hear, there's a pond at my studio, okay? Here, let me take you outside and show you the pond real quick. So you got an idea of what we're talking about. Let's see if I can get out the door. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. See that pond over there? Right there. Yep. Come to my studio, by the way, you can go fishing. It's a nice break in the music. You know, it's quiet and you hear the birds. Okay, birds are chirping. But in the morning, those frogs, them big old bullfrogs in that pond, they are so noisy. I'm not kidding you. Those buggers, when they start to making their noise, the bullfrogs, it's about 60, 70 dB, maybe louder, maybe 100 if you get close to them. So life is noisy, okay? And when you turn on a digital sound, it's ones and zeros, no noise. And you got to add that back in. So that's the reason why you're using all those distortion plugins and whatnot to add that noise to it, just to make it sound normal. I mean, if you go to a concert, it's so noisy, you gotta, you know what I'm saying here, right? So noise is part of life. And in this board behind me here, you don't have to add noise, you got it. And it's pretty pleasant, actually. Okay, when you run a drum through this thing, it sounds good. And those VCA faders, that's part of what they do. They add a little bit of vibe to your music. And it makes it sound more, I'm going to use a word here, real, R-E-A-L. And so that noise that is you think might be a problem, when people say, well, what about that hiss? You ask them, you know, if you want to go buy a mixing board and your mommy says, what about that hiss that them mixing boards and analog boards make? Here's your answer to your mommy or your girlfriend or your banker where you got to get the loan to buy something like this, okay? You say, here's what you say. Have you ever walked outside and heard the noise? You think life ain't noisy? It's real noisy. So I can deal with that noise. That's why they call us engineers, right? We're smart enough to combat the noise. How do you do it? Easy. Gates and mutes. You know, which is another thing these boards have. You know, there's a lot of ways to mute them. Some of them have automated mutes. I can make automated mutes for this, and I intend to put a mute on every VCA that will be run via MIDI. So my DAW will turn on and off channels. And when it, like, for instance, at the beginning of a ballad, you don't have drums. So, hey, I'll just turn them off, you know, via one mute switch can turn off all the drums. And then when the drums come in, open up the mute, and guess what? That adds like a little bit of compression to it. So all these things in an analog board, you know, that noise floor, is it a problem? No, it's fine. In fact, use it to your advantage. Another advantage to a big board like this is maintenance, believe it or not. I mean, yes, it's big, and there are a lot of them, but each channel comes out of this board. I'm going to show you how that works right now, okay? I mean, there are 4 screws holding down each channel, and every section of this board comes right out, and you can work on it so freaking easy. I mean, look, they make it so easy for you, even the screws don't come clear up out, okay? They just work these little mechanisms down in there. This Yamaha board is so easy to work on, it's not even funny. Now I gotta get these 2 screws back here too. But it is so easy. Here, let me bring you back here so you can see these 2 screws. Hope you can see down here. Here's 2 more screws. Okay, on channel 48, which is on the right side of my board, okay? This is the 4th screw right here. Now when I take out this bottom screw, you'll see that this goes back. Look at how easy this is, okay? Now, this whole channel will come right up out. When you're looking at one of these giant boards, don't look at the whole thing, okay? Just look at one channel. And it's so simple to work on. Look at how easy these pop out. Okay, it's just a matter of 4 screws. And this here, a little bit of, you gotta be careful here now. You don't wanna break anything. And it just comes right up out of there, and there's your channel. Okay, so easy to work on. Look at that, huh? Everything's right there. Look at how easy it is to cap this thing. Okay, these parts come apart. There's plenty of videos on the YouTube to find out how to repair one of these boards. Now I'm gonna take this out and clean it quick and bring it back, and we'll put her in. I took 2 channels out quick here in the time it took you to maybe drink a 1/4 of a cup of coffee. And now I'm going to sweep it out down in here because I can. Shout out to neighbor Mike for giving me this sweeper. He had this little sweeper. You know, now they got fancy ones you ain't got to plug in. But I don't mind plugging it in down here in the studio. And this has a lot of power. And I use it all the time to keep my studio clean. My neighbor Mike has been very supportive of me. Here, let me show you what he found here. Let me show this. Okay, you see this Fender Reverb right here? Okay, he bought me that tank at a yard sale for $5. He found it, and it sounds amazing. It's just another thing, you know. It pays to have good people around to help you out with a studio. Now I know what you're asking yourself. What is this idiot putting maintenance in the pro column for? Because I love this. I enjoy this. It's all part of the fun of it to me, is this maintenance. I mean, look how easy that clicked in. Channel, back in. This is actually easier than a 500 series because it's bigger and you got something to hold on to. If you're a guitar player, you do maintenance on your guitars. I mean, in the real world, things require maintenance. You know, I got a few guitars, and some mornings I come down here early in the morning and I don't necessarily feel like playing, but I'll clean up my guitars, maybe change the strings. It's the same way with this mixing board. And the myth about working on them every day, if you've got a reliable board like this particular Yamaha board, it's built like a tank. I mean, this thing will run. Yeah, you might get a little noise out of the channels and want to recap some parts, but really, don't let that intimidate you. It's pretty easy. You can find YouTube videos how to do that. I just showed you how easy it is to pull out channels. There's a lot of other things that could have been on the list. Okay, I get that. Okay, I hear about the heat. Well, is heat a problem? It makes a little bit of heat. It didn't make my top 3 of problems because it is no big deal. I mean, I got to run air conditioning in the summer. Does it cost a little bit more? It's a recording studio. I don't care. You know, yeah, maybe a little bit. But so I got to run the AC a little bit harder. I'm a maintenance guy. I take care of AC all the time. So, yeah, the heat is an issue. In the wintertime, it isn't because I live in Pennsylvania. We get cold winters. In fact, we get cold springs and cold falls too, usually. So, the heat's not that big of an issue. And besides, I mean, my wife makes heat and I don't throw her out, right? I keep her. So, you see what I'm saying. Heat, yeah, it makes a little bit of heat. So, that's my take on having a giant analog mixing board in your studio. You know, I gotta go now, but I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, make sure and subscribe so we can keep in touch. And Studio Hermit Ed, he got to take off now because I got stuff to do. I got a band coming in I got to work on. By the way, did you notice my Splenderfield t-shirt? Yeah, these boys, a couple of former Splenderfielders are coming in to work on some music. I'm all excited about that. One of the best drummers in our area, his name's Josh Barogi. And this guy, he's like an animal, and he is amazing. And I can't wait to get him in the studio and see what he sounds like through this big old board. But they're coming, baby. They're coming. So for now, I got to say bye-bye. Maybe next time we'll be them boys playing. Yeah, I know,